Dear wine lovers around the world, dear friends of allwinestores.com, today we are honored to host Mr. Mason NG, the winner of the Best Sommelier of Asia and Oceania, representing Singapore at Tokyo for ASI contest last November. First of all, Mr. Mason NG, I would like to thank you for your time and effort in this interview and welcome you to allwinestories.com.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, please let me start by asking you to describe us your personal story, as well your philosophy in wine culture.
My story, I started studying wines when I was actually around 15 years old. At 15, I had an interest for wines because one of my uncle, he often brought wines for me to taste, not to drink so much. Before 18, probably not drink so much. And I got quite interested, so I bought a lot of books like Jancis Robinson, Michael Schuster, Kevin Zerelli, World of the Windows of the World of Wines. And I started reading. Around 18, I started buying my own bottles of wines to taste. And I was supposed to become an accountant in Hong Kong. I have an offer to go study to become a student in accounting and finance when I was at the end of my pre-U certificate, around 18 to 19. But I decided I want to pursue something in wines, and so I headed to Singapore to try work in F&B and look for a job. I started my career as an assistant sommelier in Les Amis Group in La Strada. It's an Italian restaurant. Then went to the fine dining Les Amis, which is currently 3 Michelin stars. I was there for around 3 years in total with the group, and then I headed to Atlas Bar, which was a gin and champagne bar. Over there for another 2 years, and thereafter I joined Park 90 and started the program. And it was quite a long journey, I suppose, but it started studying wines with interest around 15 to 18. That period, spent quite a lot of time buying some wines off the supermarket after reading books about it. And yeah, so that's as simple as it is. That's my career, my journey of how I became where I am today. Yeah.
So your history or your philosophy, I think, are great. Could you please tell us which are your milestones in your wine career?
Milestones, I would say, when I was 19, I passed my certified sommelier exam, and in 2019, so I passed my certified when I was in 2015. 2015, I was 19 years old. I passed my certified sommelier exam. In 2019, 4 years later, I passed my advanced sommelier certificate. I won the Best Sommelier of Singapore, as well as the Best Sommelier of Southeast Asia. And most recently, last month, was it last month? I won the Best Sommelier of Asia and Oceania. So I think those are my main milestones. Yeah.
Fantastic. What was your inspiration to become a sommelier?
I'm not sure. Inspiration, I think there was mainly because when I was reading about wines, I was watching some YouTube as well. I learned that people can actually do blind tasting. And to me, blind tasting was something which was the most exciting for me, like where you can taste a wine and you can see the year, the grape variety, where it comes from, which land, which vineyard. I think that was something that gave me a lot of interest. It really sparked a lot of interest to me and a lot of curiosity to want to learn more about wines and to learn this skill set to be able to taste something and say, oh, I know where this grape is from. It's like a magic show for me. So I think that's an inspiration. Yeah.
Lately, you participate in the ASI contest in Tokyo. Please describe us the procedure and which are the judging criteria.
The judging criteria, I'm not sure because I don't have the marking papers, so I don't know where are the points. But I would say the quarterfinals, which the qualifiers was including 29 pages of theory. It was a lot. It was
A lot. Yes.
29. It encompassed viticulture, vinification, geography, history, and beverage all around the world, which includes even Japan, Chinese wine. There was sake, there was coffee, there was beer, there was water. It was crazy. There was a qualifier, and there was one spirit blind tasting, one white, one red, and one sweet blind tasting. So that's all within the qualifier. And then afterwards, they chose 8 semi-finalists. And within the 8 semi-finalists, we did a service component, which was a serving of champagne around a table of, I think, 6 people. There was also a non-alcoholic beverage that was required. And yeah, and what else was inside? Oh yeah, and there were a few other components. One was 3 different glasses of rosé wines. Identify them, the winemaking technique, where they come from, the grape variety, and the pairing with a dish, as well as a segment which asked you to identify 3 different plates of coffee beans. So they gave you 3 different beans, and you're supposed to identify the variety, the country of origin, the processing method, and and afterwards explain each beans, how you would brew them, at what temperature, and a food and wine pairing for that coffee. So that was semi-final, very intense. And after that, in the final, there were many tables around, which you can see on YouTube. There was a blind tasting session of white wine. There was 4 different glasses of beer to be blind tasted as well. There was 4 different glasses of sweet wines to blind taste. There was a wine list correction. There was a decantation section. There was a cocktail section, and there was a photo recognition section as well. So there was quite
huge,
syllabus.
Yes.
So I'm glad it's over for now.
How many hours do you involve with condos?
How many hours? Sorry.
How many hours last the?
Last 2 days.
2 days. Okay.
2 days. So from morning until evening.
But you succeeded. You are the winner. So, what has been the biggest change in the wine world since you start your career?
I think, particularly in Singapore, the community has been very supportive. Like, you have a lot of suppliers who are willing to sponsor a lot of trips, a lot of money into the association. The association in Singapore has also grown quite a bit with a lot of inclusiveness. There's a lot of training together in the community where the sommeliers come together very often. In the past, I think every sommelier is like all by themselves. They do their own thing in their own restaurant. I don't know. It's a bit different at that time when I remember. And now you have a lot of community where people come together for blind tastings. We do a lot of blind tastings together. Although we're all different companies, there is a group of us that join a 10 a.m. morning every Monday to do blind tastings. There's a lot of sharing of information. In terms of the wine, like a sommelier industry-wise, there's definitely, because of internet and because of technology. Instead of using like papers as flashcard, we have a lot of apps that you can use. So the standard of, in general, the standard of sommelier and education is growing so quickly and upwards, in a sense where it is very, how would you put it, easy to get information. And with that kind of information, a level across the entire world, it has like elevated. So to compete currently, it's you almost there's nothing that you have information that the world doesn't have. Almost anything that you have, everyone can access it. So information through media, through the internet, is being so easily available. In the past, countries that don't have as much like internet or money cannot really access this kind of information, and it depends on who knows what books to buy. So it's quite tough in the past. And now you have people who are more open-minded. There's also a natural wine scene growing, which people are more. In the past, everyone wants to drink Bordeaux and Burgundy. Like these are.
No, it's new styles, different styles.
And now people want to come to a wine bar, restaurant, and say, "Oh, I want to learn something different. I want to try something that I've never had before." And you have resurgence of stuff like orange wine from Georgia. People are starting to drink this kind of stuff, which in the past, even I think, particularly in the Singapore market, people would like to drink red wine a lot. I think it's a Chinese thing. I'm not sure. I like to drink red wine more too. But now there's people who want to drink natural wines, white wine, which are not too oaky. They want clean, lean, and wines which have a story behind and not just labels. I think that's quite a lot of change in terms of the community. Like I was mentioning, the sommelier, there's a lot of people helping each other out. Technology of information, that's for education in general. And in the wine market wise, people are more receptive and more open to different ideas, given it. I mean, natural wine can be very scary sometimes because it's very volatile, but people are very willing to sort of venture in and try, just
right. The difference. Yeah, it's the same. Good. Yeah, you described that there is this happening in Greece, in Europe. People want to learn more, to taste different wines like zero alcohol or natural wines. So, could you please tell us about the wine market in Singapore?
But in Singapore, I would think in the past few years, especially, it has really grown to be one of the main markets in Asia, apart from Hong Kong. I think it's getting quite similar to Hong Kong now. In the past 5 years, I think Hong Kong was still leading. And now I think in Singapore, you have a very strong fine wine market, as well as a growing amount of natural wines currently. So there's a lot of natural wine bars over here that are going steadily, and fine wine bars as well. So for example, Park 90 that we're in, we are considered a fine wine bar where we serve more classic wines comparatively than more conventional wines than natural wines. And you have recently 67 Palmer from the UK, which also opened in Singapore, which is another huge group. You have natural wine groups such as Wine Revolution, Le Bon Funk, Rebel, and these are, and a lot of restaurants, as a matter of fact, are serving natural wines to complement the local food, because local food can be quite intense in flavor. In Singapore, if you've been to Singapore, the food can be quite intense. And there's a lot of local chefs as well that's growing around here, which there is sort of a sense of community over here. People are very willing to spend because we have a strong market over here. And the market is really quite sophisticated, which means that I would say in the past 5 years, you might need to tell people that Prosecco is not champagne. But in Singapore now, everyone knows Prosecco is not champagne. Like not everyone, but 80-90%. So I think it's a very mature wine market at the moment. People are willing to spend quite a bit on wines, sometimes too much, which is quite interesting for us. And I would say it is an emerging market which is going upwards very steadily for wines.
Yeah. I hope I visit you in Singapore, or to bring a Greek wine for fine varieties like Assyrtiko or Xinomavro.
We have a few famous Greek restaurants in Singapore as well. One of them, I just went there last week actually. It's called Bakalaki. So Bakalaki is a very famous Greek restaurant here. I've been going there since, a few 3-4 years ago. I like to go there. It's very casual Greek food. We have like a halloumi with vatsina, malagusia as well, and something like the lamb with Xinomavro or Mavro Daphne. It's nice. Yeah, it's nice Greek food. It's casual. It's simple. It's not too. It's like a bistro, so you don't feel.
Yeah. What's your opinion about Greek wines?
I think it's extremely versatile, given that I think Greek itself is almost a place which has a lot of islands and it's very near to the coastal areas. So the wines itself is very, to me, once I can never eat Greek food without wines.
Yeah.
The food makes you want to drink. When you have like halloumi cheese with lemon on top, you just want another refreshing glass. drink. Then you have grilled octopus as well, some salad, and I think Greek wines is improving a lot in quality level. I had a few Greek wines that I really like. Is it pronounced as Gerovasilou?
Gerovasilou.
You have from Santorini, you have Sigalas, which is, and all these are extremely high quality wines. And these are the whites for red is like red is like Alpha Estate. Alpha Estate does very good Cinnamavro. And there was one more. Can't think of it now. Which they sent a bottle of Pinot Gris to me. Which is really
Moscofiero, maybe.
Moscofiero, yeah. And so I think the quality level is really quite amazing. It produces wines which are fresh, mineral driven, a lot of acidity. At the same time, elegant. It's not, and what's special about Greek wines is sometimes I feel they don't try to become like some other country wines. When you talk about it's very special. Like when you drink some Australian wines, the winemakers tell you, "Oh, this tastes very Burgundy," and but some Super Tuscan will tell you this tastes very Bordeaux. But in Greek, sometimes when I taste it, there's nothing like it. It just has its own category by itself. It's very unique. And there's a lot of romance in the wine. I don't know. It feels like it. And probably the most unique wine is like Retsina.
The new Retsina.
Yes. Yeah. So
pine.
With the pine resin inside, nothing is like it at all. And when you drink it, it just brings you to a different kind of world. So I really like Greek wines. And I mean, I don't drink it very often because it's not easy to sell, honestly, in Singapore.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but if you go to a Greek restaurant, I'm not going to drink a Chablis or a Bordeaux or Rhone Valley there. Immediately you're drinking 2 bottles of Greek wines.
Okay, when you visit our country, you are welcome. Whenever you want, you are welcome to come to Greece and to taste here other wines. And in that point, Mr. Mason, thank you so much for this very interesting interview, both technical as well emotional. And I will be very happy when the conditions permit. I'll visit you in Singapore and to drink together wines.
Yeah, we welcome you to Singapore and hope to see you.
One more time, thank you very much. Congratulations on your achievement. We're very happy here in All Wine Stories to have you. And our followers, I think they really enjoy your interview.
Thank you. Thank you so much.